to speak on behalf of the Tekieftes, Nina, the teacher, and Lisette. Just to give you an idea of how close the family is, besides all the wonderful things that you just heard, I used to hang out with these two 40 years ago.
We sang Beatles songs.
And we sang Beatles songs.
Can I have a little bit to drink? Because this is not my daily work.
Sorry.
I'm a bit nervous.
Don't be, we love you. All love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as granddaughter of July21TeKiefte, I'm very honored that I may address a few words to you. Please forgive me my imperfect English. And you have not delivered me into the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a broad place. Psalm 31. These words were written on stone which hung on the wall at my grandparents' house. It was given to them by a Jewish rabbi and his wife, who got shelter in their house during the Second World War. This Jewish family, until this day on, kept playing in sometimes smaller, sometimes bigger role in our family. It's the Groeneveld family present here. As a young child, I found the words on the stone intriguing, but I couldn't place them into context. Many years later, I started to realize what these words have meant in the lives of the Groen family and the Tekiefte family. They represented the inseparable bond of the two families. But then, how could I, as a child born long after the war, understand a life full of fear and persecution, or what it's like risking your life by giving shelter to another person who was in danger? When I read the book Jules, written by David Groen, it revealed a little tip of the unknown. I started to realize that in extraordinary times, people have to take extraordinary measures, incredible, courageous decisions. The decision not to wait patiently to be transported by the enemy, and the decision to open your house for someone who's in serious danger. These courageous people are no longer among us, but their children and grandchildren are. Even a great-great-grandchild is present here today. And so life goes on, irrepressible, brought from the decisions of our ancestors who refused to concede to repression. Let's not forget them and their stories, and let's hope that under the same circumstances, we will also have the courage to make the right decisions.
Dear family, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to add something to the great story of my niece Lisette. Our difference in age is only 9 years, and I have the same experience as she, as I was born 10 years after the war. My first acquaintance with Uncle Nardus and Aunt Sip was when one day, after several years, they were unexpectedly at my parents' door in Leemleveld. I think I was about 8 years old, and I opened the door, curious who was there. I understood that they had a very special bond with each other, and that became clear to me at a later age. Arm and I were in the happy condition that we could visit Aunt Sip a few times. At one of our visits, we viewed photos, read letters that they and my parents had written to each other through the years, about the ups and downs of our families and the situation in the world. My mother and my sister-in-law, Lies, visited them also once before in Florida when Uncle Nardus was still alive. Our families have shared a lot of joys and sorrows. Aunt Sip and or Uncle Nardus were always present. By the death of my brother and my parents, they were a great support for our family then, but they also often visited their birthdays and Uncle Nauders was present at our marriage. A great honor and a very special was the award my parents received in 1985 in Yad Vashem, and the tree they planted there. My sister Antje and sister-in-law Lies were also with them during their stay in Israel. My sister Antje died from the effects of colon cancer in 2010. During her sickbed, she had many telephone conversations with Aunt Sip. They had a close bond because Antje was born in 1944 and Aunt Sip was there, so she was a big support for my sister in those difficult times. After the death of my parents, we children initially didn't know what to do with the memorial stone. It was lying in the closet for years. Although Harm and I are not religious, the text on the stone had become increasingly important to us. As a symbol of our deep friendship and our freedom, it is now in a prominent place in our house. And I will see to it that this stone is passed on in the TeKiefte family according to Aunt Sippy's wishes. With my story, I want to indicate how much close contact our families had despite being often so far apart. Now wonder that the Groom family feels like family for us. We can count on the warm welcome when we visit the USA, and this is mutual, of course. After all these years, it's nice to see that the family is still expanding with more groentjes. David has contributed with his book Jew Face that the story of our families will never be forgotten in the future. And we have to take care that our parents' story will be passed along in the next generations.